are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. So listen responsibly.
Louisville's own DJ Ice. DJ Ice. Louisville's finest, DJ Ice.
Good evening, welcome to Conscious Fever. I'm your host, Carl Price, here on this cold night in Louisville, Kentucky. I am here tonight without DJ Ice, but instead I have a stand-in of DJ Ice.
We miss you, Ice.
Yes, Ice, we wish you were here. Wish you were here. Who was that? It was Wycliffe, right?
I wish I was where you was this week.
Yeah, I was in Miami. Y'all noticed that, right? That was Cool in the Gang. Cool in the Gang on South Beach.
That looked live.
I'm sorry?
That looked live.
That looked live. Well, it was live when I was there. Yeah.
What the young
Tuesday night.
Was it lit? It was lit.
It was lit. It was really lit. It was in the National Hotel on South Beach on Collins Street. Is it Collins Street? 16th Street
I've never been to Miami.
on South
so I don't
Beach.
know.
You don't know? Okay. Well, South Beach is the place to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that.
So it was on South Beach, and South Beach is actually a part of Miami Beach. But in any case, I was there for work and no play. That the Cool in the Gang was there for
That
a
definitely
concert.
looked like work. That definitely looked
you
like
didn't see
he
me
was
in that
getting
video
paid.
though. Yeah, you did not see me in the video. But anyway, but it took us back, right? Took us back to the days of Cool in the Gang, and during the time when the Black Panthers were high and mighty,
True.
right?
True.
On the West Coast, in Chicago, and in other parts,
yeah,
Oakland, and
yeah.
the Bay Area, and the Chicagoland. So, but here we are, and tonight we're talking about the Black Panthers. We're talking about Black Panther Week. It's going to start Monday, and will proceed all the way through the end of next week. And I noticed that there were a number of activities that are going to be going on, but tonight we have somebody that's going to talk to us about that. And I'm going to do something unusual tonight. I am going to dip myself behind the camera, and I apologize again. I refuse to take my tie off, not because I have marks on my neck or anything from Miami, but
Don't tell on yourself.
I'm not telling on myself because I don't. But I can't take them off because I still have this little thing in my throat, and I don't know what it is. And I think it was because I was screaming so much with Cool in the Gang, because that was a time when I was in college, when Cool in the Gang was Jungle Fever, Hollywood Swinging. But we got some more Cool in the Gang from South Beach Tuesday night, live at the National Hotel. And they were cool. They were cool. And Robert Cool Bell was there. So everybody that may be watching us from the K-State Nation, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
What's their most famous song? Is it the Jungle Boogie?
Well, it depends on who you ask, right? If you ask the black community, it's probably well, I'm sorry. Let me go back, because there's one on there that we didn't talk about. If you ask the pop community, it's probably two songs. It's probably Too Hot, which is really a nice song. That was the first song they sung. I loved it.
That's the one Snoop Dogg and them remixed, right? Coolio.
Too hot, yeah, too hot lady. Joanna.
Oh, yeah, that's them. Okay.
I love you. And
I ain't that young.
yeah, I know. And the most popular is Celebration. Celebrate good times.
I used to skate to that.
Yeah. So those, and they sung all of those songs, and they sung, of course, Jungle Fever, Hollywood Swinging. Can't get enough of that funky stuff. I think that's what we heard when we had coming on. But they were good. They were good. The horns sound good. Robert Cool Bell is still with the group, y'all. Believe it or not.
Was he the leader?
he was the leader, but the leader in a lot of these bands from the 70s was always somebody playing the instruments. It was seldom the lead vocalist.
Oh.
Right? It was seldom lead
Like
vocalist.
Prince.
Like Prince. Yeah, I mean it was like Prince, but it's like in the what was that other group? It was either the Delphonics or the Shy-Lights. Actually, the creator and the leader of the group was not one of the lead singers. Or it may have been two of the brothers or something like that, but it was somebody that was playing the instrument. So there were two original members of Kool and the Gang, and it was actually pretty good. But it was a nice time on South Beach. Unfortunately, that's why I left my voice again. I don't know if my voice is ever coming back at my age. I don't know, but if y'all see it wandering around out there with a big lost and found tag on it, it belongs to me. But in any case, I had a lot of good time. Again, every year I go to this conference. It is a trial lawyers conference. I meet some of the best trial lawyers in the nation, although some people don't necessarily agree with O'Mara, who represented the man that killed Trayvon Martin.
Zimmerman?
He represented Zimmerman, but O'Mara is actually a big time criminal defense attorney in Florida, and he's represented a lot of African Americans. So but he was there. Gloria Allred was there. Dershowitz was there one year, but he was not there this year because he's representing Trump in the impeachment trial.
And you sent me a video. Was Spike Lee there?
Spike Lee was actually there. Spike Lee was there.
How did he fit into all
Spike
that?
Lee was the keynote speaker.
Oh.
Actually, the initial keynote speaker was the young lady, the activist that refused to go to the White House that was on the U.S. Women's soccer team.
Oh, yeah.
They started practicing again, and so she couldn't make it, so they tapped Spike Lee. And Spike Lee kept it real. He probably said MF probably about 3 or 4 times sitting there on the stage with
That's
that
right,
microphone.
Spike. Black Power. Black Power. Keep it real
Excuse
at
me.
all times.
I know. I'm sorry, y'all know this Mike's picked my cough up. But in any case, but he was there. It was real good. I'm gonna say this, and I hope I don't piss Spike Lee off. But I realized something about Spike Lee that I never knew,
What's that?
and that was that in all
He's
of
short.
his, he is definitely short, and in all of his accolades, he's actually different from us.
Yeah, so.
And I'm gonna break this down for all you conscious people out there. He's different from us. Even though he's an HBCU grad, I'm gonna tell you what he did when he came out there. He started calling out, "Where are my HBCU people at?" And so we are K-State, Hampton, Howard, Morgan State. Somebody was there from Morgan State, Virginia State. But the interesting thing about Spike Lee that I learned was that. First of all, let me just tell everybody this. I'm going to let this cat out of the bag. I'm going to write a book. After I write my cancer book, I'm going to write a book about the 2 black people. And it's going to be about Black America. And it's going to be the 2 black people because a lot of people talk to us and approach us as if we're all one, but we're actually 2. And
Just 2?
We're just 2. We're just 2. We're just 2 for right now.
Interesting.
And this is the reason we're 2.
Fever special on that.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to do that.
Bring in John Yah.
Yeah, well, we're bringing John Yah, but interesting, and we're bringing the general.
Yeah,
also.
bring the
We're bringing the
general
general
back,
back because the general is our guest tonight from the Revolutionary Black Panther Party here in Louisville. Here's the 2 black people. One is the Spike Lees, and one is the me. And here's what I'm talking about. If you look back at slavery in America, there were always, even when the revolution started to end slavery, there were always 2 black people. There were the dirt poor ones in the South, okay, that were always dependent and always taken advantage of. And there were some of the privileged black people, some who were never slaves in the North, right? And then when Jim Crow came, even though there was still enforcement of Jim Crow in the northern, in some of the northern states, in a little way, there were still well-to-do blacks. I always tell this story as a good example about the history of Omega Psi Phi. Now I'm not an Omega, but I learned this being at one of their conventions when I was president of IOTA. One of the things I learned was that Omega Psi Phi got started with an argument, not between Omegas, but between the Omegas and the administration at Howard University, right? And the argument was that there were only two other black fraternities on Howard University's campus. It was Alpha and it was Kappa.
Yeah.
And the Qs wanted to come on.
Yeah.
And the Qs represented themselves as the ordinary people.
Right.
We're the ordinary Negro man, is what they said back in the early 1900s, and back in 1911 when they were founded.
My dogs.
But there were members of Alpha and members of Kappa on the Howard University campus that was preventing them
Yep.
and suppressing their opportunity to be a part of the campus.
Yep.
And they made the one excellent point. They said they are from those well-to-do black families.
Mhm.
And remember, Alpha was started at Cornell University,
Mhm.
and Kappa was founded at Indiana University, not HBCUs.
No.
So that was the argument about Kappa, but it illustrates my point about the two black people. So Spike was a part of that group whose grandmother actually graduated from Spelman.
Mm.
And his mother graduated from Spelman.
The
So he
Welsh.
told the story about the HBU members in his family and talked about how his grandmother saved her all of her money, a lot of her money. She saved a certain amount of money, some loose money that she had, to make sure that he went through college. Now I want you to think about that for a second, because there are some of us, like I'm in the group that were opposite of Spike Lee. I was first
Yeah.
generation.
I was too.
Right, to
Yeah.
go to college and graduate from college in my family, which means that I was not privileged enough to have a grandmother. My grandmother wasn't in college. My grandmother probably completed the third grade,
Yeah.
right? My mother completed high school, back in the 40s, which was a big thing. But the point is this. There go the two black people, right? There are the ones who are the have-nots, which I think my family was from. If you brought us $100, we lived on it for 6 months. If you brought Spike Lee's grandmother $100, she probably had it saved somewhere.
Yeah.
That's privileged black people back
Yeah.
in the 40s and the 50s.
That's
So
true.
I learned that about him, and it made me look at him in just a slightly different way, not a negative way, but a slightly different way, only because I believe that there's always been two black groups. There are those who went to school and founded universities and could actually afford to go to the HBCUs back in the day,
Okay.
and there are those who couldn't.
Who could?
And there are those who went because their parents in the South did everything they could in a demeaning way to get the money and then send them off to the North to go. So when you look at the billionaires, the Bridgmans and people like that in this community,
True.
and then you look at the ordinary ones, regardless of whether
You look at
I drive a
us.
certain car, you look at us, right? So those are the two. So I want
Do you
I'm talking about that.
ever cross up? Well, that'll get into another conversation. Is there ever a crossover? Where you?
There is a crossover. There is always physically.
Are you there now?
No. I might be because
Like, is
there's
your son on the track to be, or your grandson rather, on the track to be a Spike Lee?
yes and no.
Mm.
You can only cross over physically. Okay? Mandatorily, you cross over physically. You can drive their cars. You can live in their houses. Like that. I mean,
Yeah.
the well-to-do black
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
the billionaire black people. You can live in their houses. You can drive their cars. You can eat their fancy food. But that's mandatory because physically it's happening. I drive a different car than a lot of people, right? Because I can afford it.
Yeah.
But the other part, and the reason I say yes and no, is because
Mentality.
my mind hasn't transferred over,
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a very good
right?
point.
My mind hasn't transferred over. So when you ask if I've transferred over, do you ever transfer over?
If your
It just
mind-
depends. If you let your mind transfer over, so there are some women, I'm going to call out women, there are some women who wear the fake hair, who wear the long nails, and do all of this stuff, and the fake boobs and all that, because they are trying to not only physically cross over, but mentally cross over.
Ooh.
And there are some men that do the same thing. They don't wear boobs and nails and all that.
Well,
I
now,
don't know.
so
I know. I know. I'll tell the story.
Let's
how
not
I had to-
offend too many people.
Right. I'll tell the story how I had to spend the night in the Atlanta airport because I got caught on a standby flight. But that's a discussion for another day. But in any case, those are the two black people. But Spike Lee, he did a phenomenal job. He kept it real.
Okay.
He didn't hold back cussing, and his promo had like three versions or three different times you heard the N-word, and you're talking among basically white trial lawyers who,
predominantly white crowd.
yeah, predominantly white crowd that are raking in billions of dollars in verdicts, right? Some of them flew in on private jets. And I think Spike Lee was a different tune in comparison to Rodriguez and who had been there. Nick Saban was there last year.
Oh,
Before that, Joe Namath was there. Was it
Why you
Joe
get
Namath?
Athletes at the
Yeah,
trial
well, because
lawyers?
generally the trial, generally it is on Super Bowl weekend, and now the Super Bowl has been kicked back so far
Oh.
that today, this time it was on Martin Luther King weekend, and it was actually on Martin Luther King Day. And I think that was the significance of Spike Lee being there. And Martin Luther King's a Morehouse grad. Spike Lee was a Morehouse grad. But kudos to Spike Lee because he called out the HBCUs and he didn't say who graduated from University of Alabama. It was literally, we're all the HBCUs in here. And it was real good. So anyway, I had a wonderful time in Florida, but it was work.
Before we go to the commercial, you have to answer this when we come back and do the special on the book. But I wonder if Spike Lee thinks that he's on that side.
They never
this
do.
Side.
No, they never do. They never do. They think, and I'm going to share one other thing because I know we've got a guest here and we got to get to the general. Sometimes there is a handful of guilt that some of these people have because they have not been on the other side and they know they haven't been on the other side. It's kind of like the Will Smith story. You know the Will Smith story, right? You know the Will Smith story, right? Will Smith came out as a rapper in the 90s,
Yeah,
in
right.
the 80s, late 80s, I think, and the 90s.
Early
And-
90s,
and
lost
the-
all his money.
Right, but the biggest
Yeah,
criticism of Will Smith back then was that everybody knew that rappers came from the hood. They said Will Smith lived on the other side of the track. Will Smith grew up in the suburbs.
Right, right.
And when you think about it, Dre, you go back and you listen to Will Smith's songs. They don't sound like LL Cool J songs.
No.
They don't sound like Big Daddy Kane songs. They don't sound like Biggie songs.
No, not
Right?
at all.
So sometimes there are people like that who are the other black people. Right? The ones who have had that more
That's what we're
opportunity
gonna call
than the
the
average.
show,
No, the other black people. There are people like that, and I think, and so I think what they do is they bring with them a handful of guilt.
I can see.
And they say, okay, and it's no different from the white person, the white liberal who feels like that he or she has to always give back and I'm doing my duty, but they're doing the same thing. So when you look at Spike Lee, and I'm not criticizing Spike Lee, I love you to death, my friend, but
Gotta see
But-
what some of our people saying about that.
right. but the point is that there is the other black people,
That's true.
and a lot of them are a part of that. So I had to think long and hard. The reason I thought on those levels, I'm going to tell you why I thought on those levels, Trey, for this reason, is because when we talk about the 2B6 Foundation and different things like that, one of the things that we're talking about, yeah, I know they're talking, right?
Preach. So true.
Right. One of the,
I'm first generation to go to college also.
right.
This is
Alvin Brown.
Hold on, they going in. Hold on.
They went in.
Let's
Okay, I didn't
see.
mean for y'all to go in. This show is about the Black Panthers and the general.
Hey,
Like,
it's
we
all
have the
about
general
Black.
here.
We might just add the general. Hold on, we gonna go to the commercial, come back and just add the general to the conversation. All of them.
But the whole point is that, when you think about how hard it is for us to come together,
That's true.
that's one of the reasons is because some don't even believe that they are a part of the same race that we're a part of. And I've always said that what really separates us is not color, it is not necessarily a circumstance, it is our culture. So
that's
you
true.
can do one
I
culture,
believe that.
you know what I'm saying? So I can embrace a white person because we're all a part of the same culture. In fact, there was a white lawyer friend of mine. His name is his first name is Joshua. His last name is Cole. So I always call him J. Cole. But we call each other brothers when we get down to Miami, and we do that. And everybody we introduce ourselves to say, "This is my brother from another mother." And it's interesting because it tells you a story about racism. The way some of the white people respond, like, "Oh, yeah, you're joking me." I'm like, no, this is really my brother. He's not really my brother, but I refer to him as Jake. Anyway, so much for me, man.
But no, so I
want to talk about some of the comments.
I think Alvin agreed with you. Says those two in the '60s, the two classes was MLK and Malcolm X. And
Right.
He went on to say there was a middle class black family called the Joneses, which is where we get Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Keeping Up with the Joneses, right?
They had possessions that middle class whites had.
Right.
Mr. Brown
Right.
says that. Yeah, so that's a
But
comment a
that
lot of
is
people
not.
agree with.
Listen, y'all. That is not the focus of our show tonight. He just happened to ask me a question because DJ Ice is out tonight.
That's how it starts.
You know, that's how it starts.
We'll
and then-
pick back up on that on
Right,
another
we
episode.
will pick back that on another episode. But tonight we have the General of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party of Louisville.
Yes, we
And Ahamara Mathis is the guest tonight. And I am going to briefly step away from the show, or the stage, I should say, or the window.
You don't leave me by myself.
I'm going to leave you by yourself with the General.
I'm
You're
here
gonna
by myself?
You're not going to fall down.
I don't feel too.
I told y'all before, I'm scared of heights, so I seldom look down there. But now he gets the opportunity to look down there. But I know we have to go to this commercial break. But seriously, that was one of the things that I didn't know about Spike Lee. I just assume, you just assume a lot of people.
Is that next week's show?
Maybe next week's show. I don't know. I got a lot of work to catch up on. I got some computers that are acting up, so I don't know where I'm gonna be next week. Hell, I might be in under the ground trying to catch up. But in any case, that was just one thing I noticed. It was one thing I noticed because I noticed one of the things that I noticed also. Y'all will tell y'all this before we get to this commercial break. One of the things that I noticed when I was president of Iota Phi Theta was that I never saw the two classes of black people, the two black people, until I became president. And then I realized just being in a room with some people, not all of them, but some of these people, and just listening to the way they talk.
Yeah.
Like they say that they say, Dre, that there is a church here out in the East End. And when you go there, the black people, and it's a predominantly black church, and the black people are so different. They are so bougie, so wine-like, And I remember going to a funeral there. I think I may have said this on the show before, going to a funeral there, and it was like in the summertime. And some of the women had on fur coats. I thought to myself, this is bougie as hell. But that's the way they do. But in any case,
Let's do it.
we have the General here tonight, and my friend here is gonna be the co-host tonight, and he is going to. We're gonna leave them on the window to actually talk. So we've got a quick commercial break, and after this commercial break, I don't know what the commercial is.
We're gonna go back to some jungle boogie, some funky, back to Miami.
Is it? I don't think it's Jungle Boogie, but it might be Hollywood Swinging.
Okay.
Is it Hollywood Swinging?
It's Hollywood Swinging.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to Hollywood Swinging, but this is some more Kool and the Gang from South Beach, Miami, on Tuesday night of this week, where, by the way, it was cold. The iguanas were falling out of the sky, out of the trees, because you know the story, right? Once they freeze up, because they're tropical, they don't move.
And they just fall.
They just fall from the
They
cold.
die?
And they lay on the ground.
Do they
Some people
warm up?
come and get them and take them and cook them as chicken, because they say they taste like chicken. And then some people just stay away from them, because if you touch them, because any moment they can wake up. They're not dead.
Yeah.
They're just in shock from the cold. This was all over the CBS News, because Miami was going crazy because it was going to get down to the 40s and the wind was blowing and the wind chill was going to be 25. They were going crazy down there. Of course, all of us from the north were just laughing. I was with somebody from New York. He was like, this is crazy down here. They don't want to go outside anymore. South Beach is dead because it's cold.
It's cold.
So anyway,
Snowing in South Beach now.
snowing in South Beach. Here's some more Kool and the Gang, and after this entertainment of Kool and the Gang, we're going to be back with the General Ahamara Mathis from the Revolutionary Black Panther Party here in Louisville.
Are you ready to Hollywood on here tonight? We gon' try one more time like this here. Let me see 'em. Let me see 'em. Come on, yo. Let me see 'em. Come on. Let me see 'em. Come on, yo. Let me see 'em. Just wave your hands from side to side. Wave your hands from side to side. Oh, we gon' Hollywood out here tonight. Say hey, hey, hey. What you got to say? Not too long ago, you see, I went to a theater, something like this right here, and I saw the Kool and the Gang show. I always wanted, can I do this with y'all, to get into the band, to sing my love song, and become a bad man, yeah. And now here we are, baby, in this Hollywood city. The city of all the stars, all the sexy women and all the fancy cars. When I get tired, yes, we'll. Come on, say hey, hey, hey. Sing it to me. What you got to say? We gonna try one more time. Say hey, hey, hey. Sing it to me. Baby, what you got to say? Come on, y'all, it's Hollywood. Hollywood. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging. Hollywood swinging.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Conscious Fever with your substitution host, Dre Dawson, for the night. I'm here with the general of the local chapter of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, Mr. Hamra Mathis. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
How you doing? You excited for this Black Power Week we got coming up?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
before, let's disclaimer, if y'all didn't know, yes, Dre Dawson helped producing Conscious Fever is a Black Panther, so I don't know if they knew that I was a Black Panther.
If y'all don't know now, you know.
Yes, Minister of Defense, Minister of Information. We're still growing, so some of us got to play two roles, you know. But it's all love with our general here, and I'm so glad that she's here to talk about Black Power Week. So what is Black Power Week? What are we doing? Tell them what it is.
All right. Well, Black Power Week is our first annual fundraising event for the party. We are 1 year old. Our founding day is November the 8th, 2019. So we just celebrated our first year. So
2018.
18. What did I say? 19.
19.
Well, 18. Yeah. November 8th.
Minister of Information.
2018. 19, we turned 1. Okay, got it. So, yeah, again, we wanted to hold this first annual fundraiser, which is the last week of January, to kick off Black History Month. And so with that...
What's the significance of those dates?
What,
Like the last week of January. Did we tell them that? You know, between King's birthday and before the Black History Month, right? Like the kickoff.
No.
There was
Yeah,
kickoff of Black History Month.
I was like, yeah.
Because we should be celebrating every month, in my opinion, Black history and
Every day is
our
Black History.
ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So what do we got planned for this week? You want to tell them?
sure will. January 27th, which is next Monday, this following Monday that's coming up, we did a pre-recording of Mindful Monday. So we have an interview with Jasmine Harris and Mahogany Lavers. And they have a group called Mindful Moments. And so they join us along with John Yah and Frank Stoner, who owns Health Daddy Wow. And so that will be uploaded for everyone to see on the social media through our YouTube channel. And it's basically discussing holistic health, mental health, diet, and spiritual consciousness. And then on Tuesday is the best day, okay? We've seen it happen nationally, in different type of forms, but it is Buy Black Tuesday. So on January 28th, we want the Black community to patronize Black businesses that whole day. So if you're buying, no matter what you're buying, make sure that you go to somebody that's a Black-owned business here in Louisville. So that's the
All around the country, right?
around the country. You can go online if you got to order some stuff online. However you do it, yes.
Yeah,
Whenever you spend your dollar on Tuesday, make sure it's with Black people.
make sure it's with Black people. I hear that. What else we got?
And then there's Wednesday. Wednesday is our family fun night. It will be held at Roots 101 African American Museum. Shout out to Mr. Collins, Lamont Collins, who's the owner of Roots 101, and thank you so much for letting us come in and use your facilities. Because both days, Wednesdays and Thursdays, will be held at Roots 101. But that is family fun night. We have entertainment. We have concession, and it's basically we want the community to come out and support restoring the Black pride in Black families. Okay, so that's what Family Fun Night is all about. We also have Play Cousins. Shout out to Play Cousins, Kristen Williams, who's also in parts, and also Mindful Moments will be there as well. And our special guest, Mickey Paid FYB. He's going to be performing it for us too. He's a local young artist in our community that wants to come out and express himself through conscious rap. Not the.
I've heard some of his stuff too. So
Is it good? Because I haven't heard anything. But I trust him. I trust him, yes, that he's going to deliver a positive message. So yeah, that's Family Fun Night. But yeah, and I'll also have a quick message that I'll also deliver there about empowering and restoring the Black family and the Black family structure. Thursday is our Poetry Slam silent auction that will also be held at Roots 101.
It's where?
At Roots 101.
Roots 101.
African American Museum. The location is 819 West Main Street. Yes. And it's a beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Isn't that
It's
dope?
nice. And they're still building up on it. So, we got to support our, our brothers bringing a history of African American museum, Black History Museum. And they got some nice things in there. Not to speak on our other museum here, but when I walk in Roots 101, like there's a different feel when you look at the artwork. There's a lot of modern, there's a lot of jazz. Jazz is on the artwork, a lot of antique artwork. We were in there this week, and the brother had the L&N bathroom sign from 1940 whatever that had whites over here, colors over here, and it's crazy, just to look at a sign like no bigger than this piece of paper and like the impact that it had. This sign said that I cannot go in there just because of what I look like, and just for them to have that, just to keep that history, those little things like that. I think the first time I was in there, I saw a KKK recruitment flyer. It's just crazy to see things like it's just crazy to see things like that. We're in the 60s, and this is a KKK recruitment flyer with a Black person hanging from a tree on it.
Right, like
It's crazy.
Yeah, like
is that what the address is about? Not to fast forward to Friday, but what I'm interested in the Black State of the Union because I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
How about
I
that?
am too, and I'm gonna try my best. Black people in Louisville, Kentucky, to remain my composure of how I deliver this message, because I'm very passionate when I speak. I am. I can sit here right now and I sound very relaxed and calm, but when I deal with things that I'm very passionate about, it could go around.
That's what passion's supposed to be. We're supposed to be
But
passionate.
people like that, and
I think it's gonna take passion to change things.
yeah.
Complacency never changed anything.
And especially when you're dealing with somebody that's from where you're at. Because again, you know, because politics will be rolled out into this too as well. We need our council people and, you know, leaders, you know, or whatever, because some people get boggled down by the word leadership, but representation that looks like us. You know what I'm saying? I understand you and where I'm coming from. So when I speak, people can understand where I'm coming from because they understand that situation. Rather than, you know, somebody that may have had the way, paved the way, learned some stuff, and now want to deal with politics, and then they so-called say that they care about black people and this, that, and the third, but then again, our agendas never get met. So that's another part of the State of the Union. It just is the black agenda that the Black Panther Party is going to enroll for our political campaign in 2024. But it's basically a call to unity and a call to action right here locally in Louisville, Kentucky. I say it all the time. I feel like Louisville is a very special place, and it's not just special. I feel like this is a very holy ground. There's a lot of history that even myself, I don't know about Louisville, Kentucky. That's just, you know, phenomenal. And, you know, we live on the backs of our ancestors, you know. And so, again, with that being said, you know, I feel like Louisville is a very, very special place. And it does have a regardless of popular belief, you know, it does have its unity. It does have its, you know, black network. It's about bringing it together, you know what I'm saying, underneath an umbrella so we can, you know, shine together, you know, unify together for this one cause. And I feel like for us to be successful economically, you know, we're going to have to do it politically. Even though it can seem like it goes from economics, political, and up, I think like they're both one and the same. But if you have a political structure where you're bringing in the masses to vote one way on an agenda, that helps increase, you know, economics and everything else, you know, all bound together. I'll break it down. Again.
I like what you said about it being a call to unity. You know, that's one of the pivotal points that I see as you know, important about the State of the Union. That it is a call to unity. It's a call to some alarm clocks, a wake up call.
Yeah.
You know, we've got pressing issues in the city as far as, you know, the black community is concerned. So before we talk anymore, now that we went through the week, I want to go and ask you some specific questions, but we're going to take a little quick commercial break, right? Grab some water, pay some bills, you know, if they're what they say with the sponsors. So we'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Don't go nowhere.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
Come on! And everything's gonna be alright. Can you sing it? Come on, sing it for me one more time, yeah. Come on and celebrate tonight. Let's celebrate. Let's give it to 'em like this here. We hope you had a good time. We hope you had a good time tonight. Yeah, sing along, yeah. We hope you had a good time. We hope you had a good time tonight. We hope you had a good time. Yeah. We hope you had a good time. We hope you had a good time tonight. Did you have a good time? We hope you had a good time. We hope you had a good time. Did you have a good time recording that tonight? I want you to please put your hands together and give it up for the two newest members of Cool to the Gang right here. Show 'em some love. We want to thank you all so much for having us here tonight. We truly appreciate the love, and we hope to see you all again real soon. We out of here.
This is Carlos RTG Dixon, and you're watching Conscious Fever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
We are back, and we are back. Right again. So, we're still here with the General Hammer Mathis, here with Dre Dawson, your Minister of Defense and Information. So, one of my first questions about, and I got some questions about the Black Panthers, but I assume a lot of that's going to get answered at the State of the Union.
And we can't give it all away, Dre.
Yeah, we can't give it all away, right? It's a trailer, right? So I guess my thing is, what is going to be your favorite day out of this week and why?
Between Black Tuesday and Family Fun Night. Probably more the Family Fun Night, but Black Business too. I just want to see with Black Tuesday, I want to see like videos, because we have a hashtag. It's hashtag 502 Buy Black. So even if you go out and patronize Black businesses in Louisville, go do a Facebook Live and be like, I'm supported 502 Buy Black. You know, we can do things like that. I want to see the outcome, you know, of how that all goes.
So what is I mean, because
But I think it's Wednesday. I think it'll be Family Fun Night, because family is everything. You know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to see how many families come out with their children. If you know that atmosphere, because that's a totally different energy, especially when you have children in the home. So and then actually having the moment to just say something about the importance of the Black family and how to build that back up. And then, you know, even speaking about, you know, that I was speaking with one of our cadets about unrolling our co-parenting program, trying to fix, you know what I'm saying, the Black family, because we have a lot of stigmas with the Black family. So Family Fun Night will probably be the best night done. And then instead of you, I think the whole week, like, you just can't.
Well, yeah, one day. I mean,
But yeah, I think that would be the day.
I like the. I think this between the State of the Union. I don't know, because every day has its own purpose, right? So, you know, Monday we're talking about Mindful Monday, right? Mental health, emotional, spiritual health, things that we need within the community, right? Then Tuesday we're talking about Black economics, right? We need that. We definitely need to make sure that our dollars cycle in our community more than they cycle in other communities. If you didn't know, our dollar doesn't even cycle once in our community. whereas in some of the most wealthier communities, the dollar cycles at least 7 times before it leaves that community. So that's something for us to think about when we talk about building black wealth, right? And if we're really talking about black Wall Street, black economics, right? These are some of the things that we got to think about, you know. I think I did a post earlier this week. I did, and somebody about the black economics, and somebody said, well, just because you buy a black business doesn't mean that the dollar's gonna cycle. And there's truth to that, because just because I buy at your shop doesn't mean that you're gonna, you know, invest it back in the community. But then let's 9 times out of 10, let's see, you live where? In the West End, right? And so your business would be where if you started it? Brick and mortar. In the West End, East End, downtown?
The West End.
In the West End, okay. So that means if you live in the West End, you shop in the West End, right? You do your
Banking,
activities, your
everything.
banking, your health, and just trying to get close to that. So essentially, if we own the banks in our neighborhood, if we own the hospitals in our neighborhood, and if we own the businesses, then that dollar essentially cycles without us having to consciously saying, I'm gonna go here, right?
Yeah.
It's just living. You live, and you know the dollar cycles. Also with the family night, I think that's a great thing that because everything that we're trying to do in our community really starts from the family, right? It starts from that nucleus of the house. You know, before you come out into the world, you are a product of your house and your environment. So we really talk. I like that our party does a lot with trying to strengthen families and households, because if we're going to strengthen our community, then it's got to start at the house.
Gotta get in the house.
My personal favorite, though, this is because I'm an artist. It's our Artist Day, with the sit back, sipping wine, and the poets and the art auction. And I saw some of the paintings.
That gives you, and yes, and that's why I love Roots 101, especially the floor one. I can't remember what floor, but it gives you like that Renaissance feel. So just imagine, when the poets are up there, then people looking at the artwork, and I'm like, yes, I would like to buy that one. I was just,
And black artists too. Yeah. Who are some of the artists? Do you know?
I don't know him by name. Nipsey, he has one.
Oh, shout out Nipsey Green. He helped us plan and find all our artists and poets, and he's also helping us with catering, right?
Yeah, for the
presenting
Black
some
Artist Union
awards.
address.
Yeah. So, okay, Black State of the Union. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you hope to come from there? Actually, before we get there, I wanted to, since we talked about Black Tuesday, are there any specific black businesses that you wanted to shout out that people go talk to and see? Black business owners that they should go see?
Yes.
Who's that? Name some. If y'all have some, please comment, because we want to support and tag them, comment, so everybody knows where to go.
I can cipher that on the internet a million times. Let's see. The S Bar. That's DJ. I don't want to mess up the last name. I think it's Aston.
Just say business.
The S Bar, Half Valley Wow. Definitely reach out to Play Cousins and Mindful Moments. Southern Hospitality.
Yep. 40 Acres and a Mule. Matters of the Heart by Brother Jermaine Davis. African Connections by Sister Kalila Sarakali and Nani Sarakali. We've got so many. Ujama. They always been that a lot of black events. So let's buy them out.
Yeah.
I want us to buy them out. I want no inventory on Wednesday.
Right. Shut
Wednesday,
everybody down.
No inventory. You know what I'm saying? So tell us something about the State of the Union. Let's get into that, because that's the meat of it, right?
That's the meat of it. Well, I liked how we put it together, because it is a banquet and award ceremony. Our special guest that I'm so glad that he will be there, one of one of our black dignitaries is Dr. Baba Sarakali. And he will be doing a book signing for the first hour. The book signing, a mixer, mingle, all of that.
Is this his first book signing?
I don't know.
I ain't never heard of him signing books.
Books.
This might be your one and only chance to get your book signed by Baba.
Right. You might want to be there for that. And so, and our honorees, all of them are special.
Who are we honoring?
We have Dr. Baba Sarakali, the revolutionary himself, Eddie Davis, Shamika Parrish Wright, Attica Scott, our young black activist, Ibrahim Cam. He's actually been on one of Carl Parsh's shows.
Yeah, he was here a couple weeks ago.
He gets our Young Black Activist Award. And
did you hear that, Cam? You getting an award?
the Louisville Chargers, and one that's near to my heart, Shirley May.
Okay.
Shirley May.
That's sweet.
Yes.
So we had a comment, and this is getting into, because I want to get into like what the State of the Union, what we're gonna be talking about. The Black State of the Union. That tells me, where are we at? What are we faced with? What's our plan, and how are we moving forward? So one of our first questions was from Mr. Brown. He always got good questions. He asked, how do you feel that Trump's presidency affected our black community, or does?
I don't think it did.
You don't think it did?
No. I mean, and coming from somebody that, I just don't feel like we're in the game to even be worrying about what they're doing, because it doesn't affect you. Black people get emotionally invested by headlines. And that's another thing. We're going to talk about the media and the press. Black people get too emotionally invested by headlines and behaviors of what others are doing. With all of that energy that you're spending on that, you could have been, networking with you and yours to build something great. And that's what the call to action is all about. Because there's a lot of craziness that's happening in the United States. But honestly, it seldomly directs to the black community. So again, because we're always neglected in some type of form. So it affects us in the sense of our agendas still aren't met. You know what I'm saying? So they got all this craziness. They want to pass this law, that. And that's fine. But still, we don't have proper education, decent housing. We don't have council people that represent the demographics who we are. Healthcare, still, those type of things. But that's the call of action to build our own political party so that our agenda can be met. And I'll discuss the 10-point platform that we have, because you have to have an agenda. And it's hard to get your agendas across underneath these two parties is because you're just not in the game with these two parties. And I'll break that down there. I don't want to say it here on the camera. So, but that's the thing, pulling our political power together. They have divided black people into so many sections. It's unbelievable. You're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you can be an independent, you're Christian, you're Muslim.
I think Democrats are more racist than Republicans nowadays.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna put that out there. I think liberals are way more racist, discriminatory, and prejudiced, even if it's what's the word they say when people don't directly say it, passive aggressive. Even if it's more passive aggressive, they are definitely way more racist than a Trump. Because I've always, I guess, coming from being raised in the South, we've seen a lot more salient racism. I've seen it in my family. I've been called a nigga, before I was 10 years old. You see what I'm saying? So my thing was the people like Trump who will openly say nigga and we need to get these people and, think like that. I can respect them more than I can respect the liberal that says, hey, smiles in my face, and then goes writes legislation that affects my community in the worst way.
Exactly. And I think black people don't really understand how we assimilated even through the civil rights, bill and things of that nature. So, you don't realize that you're running with devils, although, you think it's just or whatever, because they keep giving you feel-good speeches is what I say. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then get you all riled up, and then we're all still sitting here, kind of helpless. So, and that's history inside of itself. And I'm going to break that down when I get there. I'm not going to do it on this camera. Because I'll be done with off.
We'll take a quick break then. Let you muscle up. We kind of want to hear some of that because I want them to know, what they're getting into coming into the State of the Union. And some of the things that are really affecting us. Like you said, we're being affected by education, healthcare.
And one of my number one things is black accountability. And I'm gonna break that down from politics into the church, and so That's going to be an interesting conversation.
Oh, that sounds. Hold on. Let me hold that right there. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come right back with the General talking Black Power Week next week, January 27th through the 31st. Stay with us. Say, Conscious Fever.
Conscious Fever.
You gotta watch it. Tell them, watch it.
Watch it.
When's it come on? Every Thursday? Every Thursday at 9 o'clock? How old are you?
10.
How old are you?
2, 3, 2,
Three. Tell the camera.
2,
You not 2, you 3.
3.
Yeah, when's your birthday? Coming up?
In my house.
Yeah. Say, Conscious
Conscious
Fever.
Fever.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Not bad.
Hello.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever. All right, I stepped out
And he's back.
and I'm back to end the show. And you know, right before I was stepping back in, I heard the General say, first of all, thank you for joining us here on Conscious Fever. I heard, and I think my co-host tonight done a wonderful job.
We all
What was the name of that song? 'Cause it's members only tonight. So anyway,
we get the one of throwbacks, don't you?
yeah, I'll be going to throwback. That's all I know. That's all my voice can take right now because I'm back from Miami. But I cannot take any little. But listen, but I want to piggyback off the church thing. I'm not gonna ask you to get into it, but I would tell y'all that y'all need to hear this State of the Union when she talks about the churches, because y'all know I am a Christian, proudly.
And I was raised Christian.
And it's interesting. It's interesting. We were all gifted enough to have dinner about a week ago or so. Interesting enough, I got a little taste of this, and I was just like, that's interesting, you know, because I'm a debater at heart. But in any case, I can't wait. Y'all need to be.
Yeah, I thought it was
Inside this
very
week.
interesting. Yeah, I think people need to be there, you know, especially when we're talking about the consciousness and moving forward for the community, you know, and when we're getting trampled and bogged on by fake news and making America great again, and you know, who's talking about us? Who's talking about our agenda?
Right.
Because in the last 50 years, we can, you know, count on a finger how much our agenda has been pushed in legislation. So
Right.
I think it's a real good thing that, you know, you're developing the State of the Union, and it's gonna be annual, right?
Yes.
So it's gonna be annual, just like the presidential, right?
Yeah.
State of the Union.
And so by next year, you know, we're going to have a great follow-up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some candidates into place. We're going to have a lot going on in a year. And that's all it takes. But it takes a messenger. I'll be your messenger. Okay? I'll give you the message, and then you do what you will from it. If it resonates, great. If it don't, what doesn't resonate, throw it out. But I think it will resonate with everyone. Because I feel like everyone feels this way.
I'm going to ask you, General, about something that was in the news. I just want to get the perspective, and I know it's not the Black Panthers' perspective, but you're the General, so, and I know this is just your perspective. The royal family. The first time royals have ever decided that they're going to give up their royal duties, and it just happens to be a royal who brought an African-American woman into the royal family. Your thoughts on that?
I didn't know about that. Like I've heard some stuff, but I didn't.
Yeah,
What's
they
going
just-
on with
well,
that?
you
How's
know,
that?
hold on. Let me just say
Yeah,
this.
give me a backstory.
The guy that does the Daily Show from South Africa, what is his name?
Trevor.
Trevor has a really good parody of it because he says, wait a minute, Queen, you didn't think for 1 minute that this sister was going to come over here and not start showing her attitude. So I thought that was funny. You know, he was making a parody of it. But the interesting thing is that there is something, I think it was on BuzzFeed, where they were comparing the news reports about Kate and the news report about Meghan. And, you know, Kate was, she's beautiful and she had a wonderful day today. And then Meghan was just like, well, why is she doing that? Why is she wearing that? And different things like that. So it was clearly skewed. And the question was asked, you know, did she leave because she was just like, look, it's not about the media. Look, you Brits are just some racist assholes. Your thoughts?
Well, one, they're not my royal family, so you know I don't pay attention to them. I don't follow the royal family and what they got going on. And then here we go again with media news, all this celebrity. You know what I'm saying? And it takes the attention. It gives people something to talk about. And it's a non-factor. The royal family still ain't came to the hood and gave me anything. The royal family has not came to the United States, did anything for black people, urban communities, black schools, no, none of that. So I don't really care about the royal family. They do not have my interest. You know what I'm saying? I can't get in contact with them. For what? And that's another thing. We're so easily entertained. I have not followed them. Followed them for what? Who are they?
Yeah, see, that's why I should probably come. And maybe, just get
You know what I'm saying? But like that's what I'm saying about black people. We invest too much of our time and energy into celebrities.
That has nothing to do with it.
It's not
It
productive.
doesn't change us economically at all.
It's just something for you to watch and for something you to talk about, getting your feelings and emotions about. Well, I don't think, and I heard people like, well, she don't look black to me, and she don't look black to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be straight up and down. She don't look like me. You know what I'm saying? She might be black. I don't know what a daddy look like. I don't know nothing about these people, but she looked like a white girl. But I mean, if she's black, she's black.
Well, she looks
I guess.
Well, according to the Louisiana Code back in the 1800s, she had more than 1% African blood in her. So
Where her daddy from?
Her daddy is white. Her mom has hair like yours and lives in Compton.
She lives in Compton.
I think it was Compton, or was it South Central, LA? One of those. But you didn't. Well, if you don't watch the Royals, then you didn't see the royal wedding when they got married, and the only woman there with the locks was her mom. Wow. It was some cool stuff. But anyway, I just thought out. But anyway, y'all have.
Are they gonna go steal some of that royal wealth and let's build an empire with it? Or is it is that the discussion?
I think the question is
we will see because they have broken. They said, listen, in I guess at some point in the spring or maybe June, they are going to disconnect themselves from having any royal duties. Now that means that they don't get any royal money either. So they have to basically make, but both of them are capable of making their own money, especially Meghan Markle. Or the Princess of Sussex, I think is the way they say it.
Okay, so my question is, with all the focus on them, so what are they talking about? What are they talking about to make us interested or invested in this marriage and this whatever? Well, what's their agenda?
And actually, General, I don't think they're talking about anything, that would make us interested. I think it's like you said earlier. I think it's just a hoopla. People want to, so there are people in this world, especially in Great Britain, that are just obsessed, and possessed, and repressed from the royal and by the royal family. Everything these people do. And I've always thought about it like this, like, damn, why can't they be obsessed with me? I'm a taxpayer and I'm paying for everything that y'all do. But anyway, that's what about. But I just thought I would get that little plug in just to get some commentary on it.
The overall, I don't have an interest in the royal family.
You don't have an interest in, so your State of the Union definitely won't be mentioning about the royal and the treatment of Meghan as the first African American woman to join the royal family.
I'm not impressed.
First dark-skinned person, period. I guess they had a maid or something back in the day when Queen Elizabeth
I
was
don't
young.
think that's true, because I think the original British ancestors were of our complexion.
Oh, of course they were. I mean, history tells us that.
I'm just not impressed. Not everything interests everybody.
Right, absolutely.
They ain't our family no more. No.
Not anymore. Anyway, this has been Conscious Fever. I've been Carl Price. I've been Carl Price. I am Carl.
You're still Carl, right?
I am still Carl. But
You
I'm
live Carl
telling
in
you, man,
Miami? Is Carl in Florida?
I wish he could. I wish he would have. Because I tell you, I haven't told anybody this, but I'm gonna tell you. I think I told you this on Friday night. I mean, I had the worst experience on Delta. I mean, just period.
I don't like Delta.
It was a worse experience on Delta, and that's where my Sky Miles are. That's the one that gives me the credit cards and all of that. So I'm kind of in there with Delta. And the wonderful thing about Delta, all of you single men, if y'all looking for a woman, any woman to get with in the next couple of months, in the next 30 days, you might want to get with a Delta employee, because the CEO of Delta is giving them all bonuses, not a 1 week pay, 2 months pay. think about that. If you bring home $1,300 a week from Delta, you multiply that by 8. That's what you're gonna get in March. So all you pimps and players, get yourself a Delta employee. If you ain't got a job and you own child support, I shouldn't say that. But in any case, but that's what's happening. That was some of the biggest news I did. So women,
women respect. I only date respectable women.
Anyway, I but I thought that was I thought that was good, and maybe that's a trickle down of the Trump tax cuts. I don't know, because all of the corporations got them. But can you imagine getting 2 months of pay?
See, that's another thing that I say. Like, whenever we have Republican presidents, money gets trickled down. That's one thing I can't say. So
we ain't gonna talk. Look, I'm a Democrat. I'm gonna stay a Democrat. I'm gonna be a Democrat. I'm gonna ride a Democrat. I'm gonna sleep a Democrat. I'm gonna eat a Democrat. So
Democrats ain't never did that to me.
But so I ain't never going. So when it comes to Democrats and Republicans, I ain't going to the Republican side. Although I do agree that criminal justice reform, and we talked about that on the political show, right? Yeah. Criminal justice reform, and
accountability.
Right,
because black people are naturally conservative. Right?
Absolutely, they are.
That's why we've survived in this country for hundreds of years. Because it's like, you throw us crap, we'll make a sandwich.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Like we have some very identifying characteristics with both parties. But the thing is, neither party is for us. So I just think we got to figure out.
I know it's a discussion for another night about
we just got to get
whether we have our start, whether we start our own party. That was the general's position when she was at the political roundtable here a few months ago. But that's a discussion for another day.
We got to get in the game somehow.
We have to get into. Listen. Here's the way we
just
get
economic
power.
Yes, just imagine. Watch this.
Money.
Just locally. Just watch this. Let's say our political platform just goes skyrocket. Like, everybody is invested. Even black Republicans are like, oh my God. We do have black Republicans that are interested in the party.
We do.
Thank you. So just imagine if the so just imagine
he ain't interested in the party. He about ready to run for office.
We can neither confirm nor deny any of our political.
You're interested in this party, you better disclose, like Cameron. Like we was talking about Cameron disclosing some stuff.
So, but just imagine if the black. Because I'm going to talk about our political shift and how it went, how we went from Republicans to Democrat, and it wasn't in our best interest. But just imagine if locally, black Republicans
died during integration.
Just got ate up. But just imagine if black Republicans in Louisville and black Democrats shifted their political muscle to the Black Panther Party, their own political party with their own agenda. What would that look like? Just think about it.
We're going to let that settle in.
We're going to let that settle in until we come back next
Just
week.
imagine what happens to white people, white dollars, white politics.
I think, well, here's the thing. I think that the real civil rights is economic civil rights. And I think we have to take it. And when I say take it, we have to earn it, we have to scrape it, we have to get it, just like we did 100 years ago. Not under those circumstances in those times, but I mean, just think about it. We control almost $1 trillion consumer dollars in this nation
annually,
and there is no reason that those of us who are employed and who are receiving a paycheck and can spare $10 a paycheck should not allow $10 to go to a specific foundation that is only about uplifting the urban areas, making a lot of those individuals homeowners, changing their mental state, because some of them are mentally ill and don't know it. And I don't mean the classic definition of mental illness. I mean I mean the John Yard classification. I mean the classification of those who would come into a room and feel uncomfortable because as a doctor you're a black doctor. And they feel uncomfortable. They feel that as soon as they see a white doctor matriculate in, then they don't think you're the chief surgeon. They think that you're his assistant. Those are the people whose mind have been tampered with for many, many years. And it's hard to change. But, look, money is the root of all evil, and money can remove a lot of evil. And I think that when we start pooling our resources together, just give us 2% of that trillion consumer dollar, And you'll see boys clubs start to go up at $25 million, and we're not asking the government for it. And you will see car dealerships. You will see small businesses. You will see all of that stuff.
Healthcare centers,
Healthcare
hospitals,
centers,
everything.
banks, and the reason most of the money is controlled in this country by people who lend money. Okay, by people who lend money. Which I think the banking system is the craziest system in the world, but it works for everybody and it keeps everybody's head above water, right? You put $1 million in the bank, and first of all, they're going to take you through hell and high water to get it out, but at the same time, they're using that money to make more money. And they're not paying you anything. Actually, they're charging you a fee to hold on to it. So it's crazy stuff. And again, it's a discussion for another show, but in any case, I think that's the way we climb out of it. It's economics. I don't think we can do it.
You have to
without
in a
a dollar.
capitalistic system. It's
And
a capitalistic
right, because
system,
it's a
so you have to play the capitalistic game.
Absolutely, and you can't. And I'm not talking about saving welfare dollars or anything like that. I mean, the welfare system is.
You can do that too.
Well, you can do that. But
we can hustle all kind of ways.
Right, but that's a whole. But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah,
I think that.
'Cause I don't want you going out here just signing up for welfare. Just the way
You
Dre
know,
said, you could hustle the welfare.
Hustle
system.
welfare, then even $10. But I think that money grows, and money is appreciated and realized, and is more beneficial when you mix time and money together, right? And that's all the stock market does, right? It takes $100 in 1950. Ford stock or UPS stock. I don't know UPS was back, but Ford stock, and then you fast forward it to 2020, and that $100 is now worth about $5 or $10 million. So it's the time plus the money. And once we start realizing that and start doing that, I think that we can control those urban areas. And if y'all remember my dog whistle show, y'all know what I mean when I say urban, right? It's just another synonym for black. So anyway. I know we got to get out of here.
And I would like to say this. If you want to donate to our food pantry, you can do so by dropping off donations at the Shawnee Cultural Arts Center that's located in the West End. I think Del Park?
Del Park.
607
South 38th Street. 37th Street.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
And if you also want to leave a donation, you can do so at our Cash App at our Panther Party. $, our Panther Party.
$ our Panther Party.
And tickets, are available at the Black Power State Union address at Eventbrite. Tickets are $40. If you come with a group or organization, tables are $200, so it roughly breaks it down to $25. But yes, be in the place.
Where can they find you for more information?
You can go on Facebook, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, Louisville, Kentucky chapter on Facebook, or you can send me a friend request at Ahamara Mathis, or by email, which is ourpantherparty@gmail.com.
ourpantherparty@gmail.com.
The letter R.
A letter R.
R. Yeah, not O.
Not ARE or OUR.
Right.
R, like revolution.
Because we know some of y'all don't do that. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, this has been Conscious Fever. General, thank you for joining us.
Black Power.
And young man,
Black
thank
Power.
you for coming from the other side of the camera, this side of the camera, and assisting with co-hosting this show tonight.
I like this side.
You like this side? We're
It's
gonna put
lighter.
It's much lighter. We're gonna put you more, and it's not as nerve-wracking, is it?
No,
Yeah, we're gonna put all this whole production stuff is crazy, because I know the sound went out once or twice with me, but it's all good. But anyway, we are going to get out of here. We will be back next week for another stupendous show. I hope y'all enjoyed that little snippet of Kool and the Gang from South Beach in Miami. I will tell you that it was cold. But Kool and the Gang heated everything up, and they were really, really down to earth. I shook one of them hand because I went up close to the stage just to shake their hand and just say, "Damn, good job." You listen to those old groups and you just think, okay, just sit around, eat some of the finger food and hors d'oeuvres, and just kind of try to enjoy this. And man, they were just good.
Yeah, they seemed like they were tired.
I mean, the Pointer Sisters were there one year, and they did the same thing. They were just like, I'm standing next to the stage, and I'm just singing to all this Pointer Sisters music that I only ever sung. Maybe driving in the car, listening to it on the radio. But anyway, so kudos to Kool and the Gang. Y'all did a wonderful job. And Spike Lee, I enjoyed hearing you down in South Beach. And I'm sure
Black Power, brother.
And I'm sure those billionaire
I trust
lawyers,
you,
trial
brother.
lawyers did too. It was Yeah, I mean, you know, F. Lee Bailey, Mark Garagos. Mark Garagos was Michael Jackson's lawyer. F. Lee Bailey, you know, on the O.J. Simpson trial. Morris Dees, the Southern Poverty Law Center. He started that in Alabama for years and ran it for years. So all these people were there, and they were subject to Spike Lee. And it was good stuff. But he did a wonderful job. But anyway, this is Conscious Fever. We will see you. I'm Carl Price. This is Dre Dawson. That's the General. See you next week.
Missionary love.
Peace.
Peace.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking me back down on the knees. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is. Said I know that a change is gonna come one day. I know a change